IVM.
Happy New Year! All right, welcome to another episode of IVM Likes. I am Antariksh Thakkar. Man, what a year 2021 has been. This is great to be joining you guys on the first IVM Likes episode of this year. This is a two-parter, in the sense this is the second part of a two-parter. Last week we did an episode with Farhan and Sunetro from the GBCD podcast on the IVM Podcast Network. We talked to them about the biggest pop culture moments of 2021. And we talked a lot, man. We talked about the Aryan Khan case. We talked about news media. We talked about journalists and politicians. We talk about Indian porn as well. Yeah, that comes up. It is what it is. It was a very fun conversation with the two of them. Man, they're both so insightful about so many things and they just know so much. It's great to just hear them talk. Like, for instance, you see in this episode, they definitely schooled me on a couple of things which I was not aware of or which I was ignorant on. So that's a lot of fun just to have those guys on this show. On this episode, we continue the discussion of the biggest moments of 2021 with Sunetro and Farhad. And it's me and Zalak talking to the two of them. And yeah, it's just a fun conversation. Hope you guys enjoy this second part of this conversation with them. What actually happened was that we planned to do only one episode with the two of them. And we realized about midway through the first episode, okay, man, this needs to be a two-parter because there's so much more to discuss. And we've barely gotten like 30 minutes into the first episode. There's so much more to discuss. So that's what we thought. We just continue rolling with them. And here is the second part for you right after this very short break.
$100. That's all it takes to begin your journey with Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, really. With CoinSwitch, you can start investing in over 100 cryptocurrencies with just 100 rupees. On top of that, there are zero charges for deposits and withdrawals, so you can trade, buy, sell, however and whenever you want. All of this, plus their extremely intuitive interface, makes CoinSwitch the perfect app for beginners in the crypto space. But don't take my word for it. Just download CoinSwitch for free and try it out for yourself. If you'd like more information on cryptocurrencies, tune into a show about crypto with me, Rohan Joshi, my new adventure on IVM Podcasts. CoinSwitch, kuch to badlega.
Another major thing that happened around that Aryan Khan thing was the Raj Kundra case. Raj Kundra versus Shilpa Shetty.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that I felt sad about. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
It was like soft core or something. No, it wasn't even like proper.
Yeah.
porn.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just like.
I mean, he's
God.
still just making porn in a way.
But think about
For
okay,
me,
that-
I don't even think that's something wrong. Like,
There's nothing wrong.
unless
That's
there
what I'm
was,
saying.
unless unless there was exploitation involved,
Dude,
which I
already-
don't think was the premise.
Yeah, correct.
Which I don't think
But
was
already-
the premise for his.
Yeah. See,
arrest.
already famously, Indian porn sucks so much, dude. If there's someone who's producing it
sorry,
properly,
Antrix, I beg to differ.
What are you
Please, you're
saying?
not on Twitter, obviously.
What are you saying?
I am blown
Twitter.
away by the quality of porn that's on Twitter nowadays, including gay
in
porn.
India.
But
In India.
Indian gay
I'm
porn.
talking the number of Indian productions now which have
okay, that's
beautiful
impressive.
men, beautiful boys,
Okay.
beautiful women, not your old school, Okay, I don't want to say it, but if you watch Indian porn in the 90s, you were probably scarred more than turned
Yeah,
down
for
or
sure.
aroused,
There's a lot
You're
of
like,
hair.
what the fuck
You
is
just
this?
saw.
Yeah.
You just saw really, really.
Yeah.
dark
Yeah,
pictures
in
of
fact,
you.
I remember in the 90s, once my friend snuck in VCR times.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
managed to I'm saying he managed to get a VCR cassette from one of these. Oh, they give blue films. He got a film, and that entire porn film. First of all, it was a morbidly obese woman and an extremely skinny guy. Both probably this was shot in some bylanes of Bangladesh somewhere. And what is fun about that movie was the entire film they only talk in airport lingo. Like they are having sex, but the entire movie.
मेरा टेक ऑफ होने वाला है
हाँ, मेरा उड़ा मेरा
wow.
fuel tank leak हो रहा है. And literally I will never forget that film for the rest of my life. And sometimes I was like, this is what Indian porn is. But now when I watch Indian porn on Twitter, I'm like, wow, okay. It has really, and leave alone the fact that there are pleasant to see models and all now in Indian porn.
Yeah.
you somewhere know that they are being treated well also. Like, they are being treated with respect, and it's not like,
Hopefully.
of
Hopefully.
course, I would never know. They don't do behind
Yeah.
the scenes, but
Yeah.
somewhere I just do know that it's like, oh, this person must have paid a good amount to get this particular actor, and the set and design, and it's still tacky. It's
Wait, you
because
know these
it's-
actors now? What?
No, but
Okay.
there are
I thought
2-3 I
we have
follow.
Indian porn
There are
stars
2-3
now.
I actually follow who I was like,
Recommendation number
So
three.
you would say they are Indian porn stars. You'd call them Indian
they're
porn stars.
Indian porn stars,
impressive.
and
Oh.
we are talking like muscular and the good kind of like, oh my god, like, again, it's
Nah,
not
nah,
seedy or shady basically. So Indian porn is kind of, don't diss on Indian porn.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
But
if
yeah.
Kunal Kundra is Raj
Raj
Kundra
Kundra.
is part of making Indian porn better, I'm more proud of him, man.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
In
the
fact,
thing for me. As long as there was no exploitation involved,
Yeah.
it's consensual, for God's sake. Why is there anything? Why the? I
And,
feel like there's so much, and obviously I'm not even going to try and make it sound like I'm surprised at it, but
Yeah.
there's so much taboo around the sex work in India. It's just
also, let's
But porn is banned.
let's
not that.
zoom out a bit. If you think of all the topics you brought up today, right from Udar Farooqi to Aryan Khan and all, you do understand that this is major politics play, and
Yeah.
you understand that these all
Yeah.
become like,
Especially
I don't know what
because-
Raj Kundra could have
Yeah.
done
so
to piss
Also,
off.
literally,
porn is only porn is only unblocked in India inside the parliament, right? Because that's where they actually watch the porn videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
During parliament.
But can I tell you something? As recently, I was in Bombay 2 months ago, and I happened to stumble upon this beautiful cross-dresser. Is that a Sunita,
that's-
correct me? Is it okay to say cross-dresser?
I don't know.
I know
You have
she's
to-
not. I know she doesn't
You have to go
identify as
beyond
trans.
that for me to.
She doesn't identify as trans. She's a cross-dresser, and somehow she's becoming very popular on Twitter now. And it's the first OnlyFans I actually subscribe to, and I'm not justifying why, but I actually subscribed because I saw the quality of her porn, and I was like, okay, you know what? This person deserves money for putting this out there. I'm not being some messiah or something. I just instantly felt like, oh no, this needs support. This kind of, because again, in an effort to be sex positive, in an effort to be like whatever, maybe it's illegal in India, all said and done. And around that time only this Raj Kundra thing had started, and I was like,
Oh man.
oh my god, this boy. I don't want.
What if something happens to this person I like?
Exactly,
What
like
person,
and OnlyFans is huge in India. You'll be surprised. Again, I don't know if
Really?
you all watch
Okay, I
porn
don't
on
know.
and
Twitter.
sex workers in India, they have. Think about the situation they're in. Like if the government being the way they are, they come for them. They have no protection.
Yeah.
They are the most vulnerable of the lot. It's just
Exactly. Even I was very self-critical because first of all, I had to battle with the, oh my god, are you that kind of person who's getting an OnlyFans account? Like it was some measly 800 rupees for
like,
a
are you
month.
paying for sex essentially?
Yeah,
that mindset.
Again, I knew what foundational level. I knew it was no. It's not like I'm going to. I did watch all the stuff on it, but it's not like I was like, oh my god, I'm going to jerk off for a month because I have a 1 month subscription to this. It was just because I wanted to support this person, like in whatever way I can. So I just sometimes wish that. I don't wish, but I know that porn has arrived. And if you do just catch one stream, if you want Antariksh, I will send you one guy I kind of follow on Twitter who I actually find, I don't know where we are, Zalak, I can't send it to you. But I know I can maybe just follow and see the kind of retweets and the production houses. You think your old Balaji and all are doing soft stuff? Check out what's happening. It's an entire industry now. I know it. And somewhere when I started noticing this quality of porn going up in India, I instantly, when the Raj Kundra news broke, I was like, wait, is this where the money is going? Like, is this? I don't know the direct connection between him and porn still. But I was like, okay, somewhere someone is pumping money into the Indian porn industry and the quality is visible now.
That's cool, man. I hadn't noticed this, but I am very
dialogues could be better.
If you're noticing.
Because again,
that's porn in general. That can't be.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from porn. Let's go to someplace else. So basically, we have two more things to discuss. Two major events that happened. One of them is the Met Gala. The dresses at the Met Gala.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Kardashian.
The worst Met Gala of
Kim Kardashian in blackface, by the way.
But by the way, this year's Met Gala was considered the most underwhelming Met Gala because just the story. Because Met Gala is not like a regular red carpet, right? Like there is a theme. There is a theme, and
What
and
was
there
the
is a-
theme this year?
American American fashion. It was about America and freedom. So you had to tell some story of within the ambit of Americana, and there were
Okay.
very few people who actually told a story. Very few.
Okay.
Most people, like I shout out to AOC, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
She wore this
Tax the
beautiful
rich. Yeah.
Tax the Rich, and
But at the Met Gala, where she's partying with the rich.
One second.
No, I read that
That's such
debate.
a. That's
Yeah.
1 second. No. That's
I'm
such a
listening,
rich person. Yeah.
Sure.
That's such a rich person response. And I'm not saying you are coming
No,
from
I
that point of view.
I
That's literally one of the first things that a Republican said. And to that, her response was this: one, do you know who I am and what I do for taxes? She's the one doing that. Secondly, the designer was a new designer, a woman of color who obviously she was giving a platform to. Third, she was not there by virtue of, oh, so look at my money. She was there and she made a statement.
Yeah.
Fourthly, it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Can we just stop there and
Absolutely.
say, if people have their doubts about where her loyalties lie, really?
Sure. No.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it was bizarre a little bit to me.
I don't think it was
the ad-
Only to you, Antrix.
Okay, I
don't
guess.
think it
I
was
guess.
She
bizarre.
instantly put out a few stories
Yeah.
in her defense, and
Yeah.
in just like 5 stories, she shut anybody up who
Everyone
was
down.
saying anything
Okay, cool.
about why. She's sitting with the rich and doing this, how ironic and all of that. She shut them up in like 5 stories. With
See, the
minimal
whole
problem.
issue,
Yeah.
the whole issue is not about whether you can be rich. The issue is,
They're not
if
tax.
you
They're
are
paying the
rich,
taxes. Yeah.
are you paying your dues?
Yeah. Correct.
Are you?
Also, the
This
fact-
is- I saw. So there's one of my favorite stylists is this woman called Carla Welch, who does a lot of these new up and comers like Anya Taylor-Joy, and so she's like the it stylist, and she had put out these stories, and there was a lot of hate on her platform saying, "What the." You are the one, like, how can you say these things being like, so rich? So she said very clearly, I've been paying my taxes. Hello. I know I have a privilege, but I pay for that. Like, I make sure that I pay my dues for that privilege. This is not about
The fact that
being
we are-
rich. This is not about, going into a Soviet, socialism. This is about whether or not you've paid your dues with respect to the money that you hold in your coffers. That's about it.
The fact that we are
That's
talking about this even after months it was done is she was successful at doing
Yeah.
what she intended to do.
Agreed. Sure.
That
Yeah.
woman needs to be the president of United States, and soon. Like,
She is
if-
badass as hell for sure. I would. give
She
her that.
needs to be the woman of the
Super
like,
gutsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And clearly not for the big money and like for instance, like for sometimes you still like question where people like Elizabeth Warren lie, because you hear like certain stories about these people
Yeah.
that she's still giving speeches to those kind of banks and all that, and this AOC is not doing that at all, which is
At all.
again so
She's
commendable to
very clear.
so early
Very
on
clear.
in her career. Yeah, very cool. The last thing was very sad kind of news. Actually, two. One is the Alec Baldwin shooting thing.
Gunshot.
That was
my
like
God.
gunshot incident, and the other one is the Astroworld
Travis Scott.
thing.
Yeah.
Travis Scott basically a stampede that kind of happened and
Yeah.
that took the lives of people. The Alec Baldwin thing.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't aware, on
I'm-
set.
yeah.
Aware.
But
okay.
do talk
Yeah.
about it, because I'm
The
sure
listeners, right?
listeners might not know.
So Alec Baldwin is an American actor, a very popular actor, and he on the set of his some
Rust.
upcoming film called Rust, on which he is also the executive producer or one of the producers at least. He had a gun in his hand. There was a shot which required him to shoot the gun into the camera, and when he ended up shooting the gun, according to reports, he ended up shooting
The cinematographer.
the cinematographer and the director who was standing behind the cinematographer. And because there was a live round, there was an actual live bullet in the gun, which he wasn't aware of. And it was not supposed to be the case. But the cinematographer ended up losing a life. The director was severely injured, but I've heard has since made a recovery. But the cinematographer lost a life. And it was a very unexpected and sad turn of events, is what I would say.
Yeah.
I
Horrifying.
actually saw a George Clooney interview on WTF with Mark Maron. I heard it, which is a podcast, WTF with Mark Maron. And George Clooney was talking about being friends with Brandon Lee back in the day.
Yeah.
Brandon Lee
That's how he
was
died.
Bruce
That's how he
Lee's
died.
son, right? He was shooting for a movie called
For
The Crow,
Yeah.
which after
Which is-
the movie came out, which is supposed to be like is a great movie,
Brilliant.
highly reputed, has a huge, massive cult following. This movie, and Brendan Lee lost his life in like a very similar way, where one of his co-actors in the scene ended up shooting a gun at him, which turned out was loaded. And in his case, it was that the gun, the previous shot or cartridge of the bullet had gotten caught between, I don't know what the terminology of the gun is, but where you cock the gun, it had gotten caught between the two things in the gun. So when you open the gun and you see that the ammunition is empty, the ammo cartridge is empty, it was actually empty, but the gun was just caught. So when he pressed the trigger again for a second time, it released that cartridge, and that's what ended up shooting him. This is what I've read up about that. So George Clooney was saying that because he was friends with Brandon Lee, what he does on his sets, and what a lot of other actors do, and maybe Alec Baldwin also did this, but it didn't work out. Yeah, possibly. What George Clooney says is what he always does is whenever someone hands him a gun saying, "Okay, it's a cold gun," that is not the end of his due diligence, right? What he does is he will always open the ammo, check it himself, show it to everyone who's standing around him, like all the camera people, all the set people. Okay, hey, this is an empty gun, this is an empty gun, this is an empty gun. Show it to the person who is supposed to point the gun at in the scene. Okay, hey, this is an empty gun. Then put it back and then continue with the scene. This is what George Clooney says he does. And this is apparently a norm with a lot of other actors. But because this movie was, I think, shot in Mexico, and they're probably more lax with their bylaws around this kind of stuff, is
My
how...
problem is with this whole debate right from the start. First of all, I've been in tune with whatever's been happening, and it's multiple people are at fault for that one person dying. Like. Let's start there, but it's not like Alec Baldwin is not. I love Alec Baldwin, by the way. Really, I do.
I know.
But somewhere it's repeatedly coming to light about how many rules are flouted and correct. But
and that apparently that very gun had been used just a few hours before.
What I find so stupid is that in 2021, where things like CG and we still use real guns on a set. I just don't understand that. Like how? Why you can't
absolutely
people make a Batmobile for the movie, but you can't make a fake gun that it won't ever kill someone. I just don't understand. It's beyond logic, which is why I actually find the story way more painful when it actually. I heard a few podcasts about this whole topic, and constantly I kept thinking nobody's really talking about why are guns supposed to be there, and then all these laws and
like you don't use real you use fake swords in fights, right? Like
you use fake cigarettes.
You use so why muscles? Not guns?
Yeah, exactly.
They put fake muscles on Brad Pitt and Troy, dude. Like I'm like you made a person.
Those are fake?
What?
Dude,
Troy
shattered my entire belief.
A lot of muscles that you see in Troy are all CGI.
Damn it. Okay.
Not 300. 300 is real, but
300, extra.
Sure, 300 is real.
But it's such a stupid thing that a person had to die to come to terms with the fact that just use a realistic fake gun though. Like, I don't understand this whole debate.
This American obsession with guns is just toxic. I mean,
it is also so easy to see from our Indian perspective, from any country's perspective, basically, that if you don't have such loose gun laws, there will be lesser shootings. It is so easy to see that. And these guys just don't, they still have their own, because again, the Second Amendment is such a huge thing there.
There's a John Oliver episode on the NRC, if you all have not seen it.
I've seen this.
Check it out.
National Rifle.
It's a very deep debate, actually. NRA. Sorry. Why?
Which is bankrupt, by the way. Like,
no. But like,
how do they still hold that much power? It's beyond me.
No, as in why America is not just waking up and ban guns. Like, because didn't New Zealand do it after the mosque shooting? If I'm not mistaken, New Zealand they just within less than a week, everything was implemented and gun sales were banned. Like, it was amazing.
How it should be.
I know, but in America, why it runs?
I can't imagine in places like Texas, for example, and like hinterland of Texas, like in Austin. Why would you need a gun? Like a bear's not coming to maul you there.
Oh my God.
And the final thing is a little bit we should talk about Astroworld, because this happened very recently.
Yeah.
The Astroworld thing, again, avoidable. Apparently they overpacked the venue, and then because of that, stampede started happening because people wanted to get closer to the stage once Travis Scott came on.
I feel like a lot of the blame, and I'm not absolving Travis Scott of any of the heat that he's getting, but he's not the organizer. Of course, he's getting a huge part of the money, but this is at the end of the day the organizer's fault too. Like it is primarily
absolutely to blame.
I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not absolving him of it. There is an event company that does this. There is an artist that is at the helm of affairs, and you've seen considerate artists. You've seen Michael Jackson, Adele being in pact venue, stopping their show when they see something going wrong. You've seen examples of that. This guy, the reason I get pissed off at him is he's on the stage. You can't not see it happening in front of you. You
Right
can't
in front
not,
of you.
It's just like you are so close to it. You can't possibly say that, oh, this was out of my.
Just after this happened, a lot of people who have worked with Travis Scott, some of them have quit their jobs because of how Travis Scott behaves, especially this. It almost seems prophetic. Watch some of the interviews. They all have said that this was something that was bound to happen at some point, and it actually did happen. So, which is why I'm so again scathing about do not let him off the hook. Because I love Travis Scott's music, by the way. But when this happened, and his ex bodyguard, it's a very famous. He set up a TikTok. He has millions of views now. He's saying this was only a matter of when is this going to happen, not if it's going to happen. Because in the past, Travis Scott has done this repeatedly, where things start getting out of hand at his concert, and he actually fans the flames instead of hey, you know what, cut it out, I'm not performing right now. Like, this has happened multiple times where he has actually egged on people, which is what makes us sad, because again, there was an 8-year-old kid involved in this, and so and then again, when you see the whole social media aspect, who's his girlfriend? Gigi? No, what? Bella? Who's his girlfriend? Which one?
Kylie Jenner.
Kylie Jenner. Sorry, to me, all of them are one. I'm like seriously Kardashian dyslexic. But they all the way they kind of like put out a statement and then they all quickly deleted it. In fact, if you all saw, Kylie Jenner put out a video of the ambulance going through the audience and kind of writing a caption which was, "This is how lit this concert is," or something. And then she deleted it later.
Wow.
When you really read about it in that depth, you are like, oh wow, these people are fucking sick.
Yeah.
And they went back to living their own life, right? After that,
they always do. That's the thing. There is the only people who actually get cancelled are
no. There is
no. I'm saying people who really face the effects of cancel.
Travis Scott he's not performing anywhere anytime soon.
I'm saying, will that affect his wealth? Like, he might not get more.
That's my second point.
He's already,
unfortunately, by then you're already so rich that you
doesn't matter. You can just live on a
in fact, I hate to bring this up again, but Dave Chappelle in his special has an entire skit about DaBaby, who was cancelled this year or last year?
This year.
But he just talks about how DaBaby has actually killed another human being in Walmart. A lot of people don't know this. He shot someone and killed someone in a Walmart, but we cancelled him for saying something homophobic. Nobody cancelled him when he killed another person. But long story, Travis Scott is a human being.
Okay, I think that brings us to, basically, we've talked a lot. Did anything else that you guys wanted to discuss though?
No, it just this year so much happened, dude. Like,
there's so much happened, dude. We haven't even got to a lot of this stuff. Like, we had had this Zack Snyder's Justice League to talk about.
My god,
Okay, let's quickly talk about it since you guys have seen it then, clearly. So, Justice League, the Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I've not seen it.
I do think it redeems it.
I haven't seen it either.
I've heard that multiple
times. First and foremost, because Justice League was just
so bad.
It was so bad, appallingly bad. It does build on the mythology in such a great way. Is it the best storytelling? No, but do you get a mood? Do you get the Zack Snyder experience, which is a very typical, I wouldn't go as far as saying he's an auteur, but he has his style.
Yeah.
There is a mythology involved. There are moments which are beautiful in the film. There is a moment with Flash which brings tears to your eyes. Like you.
I thought the cyborg arc is really cool.
Beautiful. It's rich.
Where I'm sorry, I'm on the side looking where it's streaming. I'll watch this.
It's on
Hotstar.
Hotstar. Disney Plus. No. It's on WB. So HBO Max. On HBO Max.
As in, I think it's on Prime, as far as I know.
Oh,
I'll find it. I'll find it. Guys. I'll find it. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's a good movie. Okay. Then also another thing that we did not discuss at all was in the beginning of the year. Maybe we should have started this. The beginning of the year, there was again, this is crazy. The Capitol Hill riots in the USA, which happened because of Trump's election claims. So the Capitol Hill riots started because Trump kept claiming that no, our election has been stolen from us. We were the supposed winners, and there's election problems, election count issues, and blah blah blah. And so what happened was a whole lot of Trump supporters and right-wing supporters, Republican supporters, end up storming. They attacked the Capitol Hill, which is basically where Parliament sits, where the American Parliament sits there. And it is bizarre, dude, that people can just do that. And also bizarre that for a lot of time, these people did not get arrested. And they're still, they're seeing like, some of them have gotten arrested since then.
But the guy with the horns.
Yeah. I mean, he was the mascot.
He has
the face of it.
So a lot of them have gotten arrested.
Yeah, a lot of them now.
The people who haven't been arrested are the people who were sitting as senators and as congressmen and congresswomen. They are the ones like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like Lauren Boebert, like Matt Gaetz, like Jim Jordan. They are the ones that the January 6th committee is kind of going after. And I really hope if Democrats want to win, they will have to arrest someone, because otherwise they will lose the faith and trust of the entire population. Like everyone who wants to support Democrats will just say, I will just not vote because you guys can't do anything. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that would be ideal, but I don't see anything happening to politicians, at least in this regard. Because dude, otherwise Trump should have seen something. But nothing's ever gonna happen to Trump for anything, dude.
See, there are multiple theories why it's taking so long. One theory is obviously that kuch nahi hone wala. The other theory is that they can't afford to make a single mistake on this. That's why they're taking their due time and making sure that it happens before the midterm elections. It happens exactly before the midterm elections so that it completely throws them off in a tizzy. And I don't know. Apparently, it's a very strong strategy to make sure that Republicans lose. I don't know. Maybe it's too much optimism, but I really hope that people get their due. Like,
if you want to see some great discourse and humor about this whole Capitol, the new season of It's
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
The first episode was so good,
amazing.
Like, and actually
that prank thing, the one with the shoe polish thing.
I thought it was it was so slapstick and whimsical. Amazing. But somehow they managed to entirely cover how stupid America has been in 2021 in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes, including
insane. And I just can I just say something very, very controversial. But I do feel like 99% of the world's problems stem from a man not being able to feel his feelings. 99% of the world's problems stem from there. Yeah.
As in, you're talking only about Trump or in general?
No, like the world. Wars have happened because a man couldn't cry. Sure. Like, that kind of stuff. Like, men can't feel their feelings. That's why problems happen. Like, if men were more in touch with their feelings and were more authentic and real, the world would be
again, John Oliver did a great special on why we are in a time where it's the stupid who
I seem to have offended Farhad and...
Not at all. I totally agree that's happening because you take your Trump, you take Bolsonaro, you take Modi, you take Xi Jinping, you take all of these people and you're like, what's happening in the world? These are terrible people, but they are being given the right to rule and power over entire fucking continents and countries, and what the hell is happening? And but there's a great, again, John Oliver's done an entire episode on that about why this is it's a pattern around the world right now. I can't get into it, but it's so insightful because otherwise we just feel crazy, right? Like, what the is going on? Is the world?
But what's the bottom line? What does he say? Like, is there any hope?
No. It's we are in the dark ages. We are in the dark times right now, and it's only. And compounded with what COVID has done, COVID has come along at a time where these people,
oh my God, this mask mandate, like, how can an entire populace be so freaking stupid that they can run? On one hand, they will say, I will not take the vaccine, and then they'll say, oh, why are the numbers going up? Because of you, the numbers are going up. Because you haven't taken the vaccine.
Can I quickly throw? And it has stayed with me for the past 2 days constantly. I saw this documentary called The First Wave. It's entirely the first 4 months in a New York hospital. Just what the first 4 months were like. Oh, wow. And it's making my hair stand as I talk about it. First of all, it was one of those films that right from the starting, it clocks at around 1.5 hours, and I cried throughout.
Yeah, it's getting rave reviews. Yeah.
Secondly, it's so disassociating to watch because it's a problem that happened last year, but we
Right
are still
here.
in it.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah.
we are still in it. And again, the documentaries have begun. I honestly, when COVID had begun only, and when I was like, okay, this is some serious shit. It's not just some swine flu type thing happening around. It's a real thing. I remember then only like, oh my God, they'll make so many documentaries about this. And all the crap documentaries came out early because again, you couldn't have access, right? Because it's a pandemic. But now the real ones, like where they were in a hospital, and dude, the first wave is horrific. I won't be surprised if it's as many documentaries come out over the next few years. I already know the first wave is going to be looked at as one of the best. It's by National Geographic, by the way, and the kind of footage, and it is horrendous. I would actually give a trigger warning if anyone plans to watch it. Oh my god!
There's this doctor who's gotten very famous on Twitter. I follow him. I started following him after he started telling stories, and he made it a point to tell real stories. He started saying how there are people on their deathbeds finally coming to their senses and saying, I wish I had a different point of view. And then there are people, even on their deathbed, they are just resolute that
and it's somehow, while watching it, I couldn't help but feel incredibly guilty to every get-together I went to, and that we all are murderers. You know what I mean? In some way or the other, we all have. Again, that's a very sweeping, big statement. But you can't help but feel like, oh my God, was I lax to even 5% assume that this is just a pandemic that's affecting other people and not me? Oh my God, this film was harrowing to watch, like for an hour and a half. And it beautifully, by the way, intersperses with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Okay.
Like so organically, like how actually these are around the same time, and how where George Floyd, before dying, he kept saying, I can't breathe, and how like people actually in hospitals couldn't breathe, and how these two movements collide. It was stunning. Like I cannot talk about enough about the first wave. And also, while we are at it, there's a documentary called 76 Days, which is actually the first 3 months in Wuhan. And it's shot like, I don't know how these people got in fact, both these documentaries overall made me question the morals and ethics of filmmaking, because these are snuff films. You will see people dying on screen in real. You actually see people breathing their last in these documentaries. So again, if anyone's planning to watch it, I have to give you a trigger warning. But I was like, in some way, I was waiting for the documentaries, because that's the best way. Sometimes I tend to make sense of the world, of any event, like whether it's bowling for Columbine or like anything which I don't know about. Documentaries are the best way to make sense of something. And now the good COVID documentaries have started, because there's been some time, there's been some like, how did the Black Lives and movement and how did they coincide? Like people had those kind of opinions. Insane. 76 Days and the first wave, outstanding.
I do feel like the pandemic has been the time where some quality content has
amazing
been out.
amazing
and that's one of the few, like Bo Burnham, for example.
Oh man, Inside. Dude, don't even, man. Amazing.
That was like shit.
Yeah. Like, I don't know whether any of you guys have seen Arcane, the animated
I've heard
show.
it's fantastic.
It is like, it gave me goosebumps. Like, I'm not a video game fan, but
should I stick through with it? I saw the first two.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Any friend of mine, people who are like crazy fanatical, gamers. Each one of them has said, this is what we have been waiting for all our lives, because there has not been one single like amazing video game adaptation. This is the first, and it's just beautifully crafted, like amazing.
Okay. I'll follow through, because something about, maybe I was watching it at the wrong time. I was tired. I was blown away by the visuals of it all. But
the storytelling is very, very powerful. Okay. Very beautifully etched out characters. Even, for example, the audacity of What If and WandaVision. Like, I would never have thought Marvel
Loki even.
The first few episodes, and then towards the end, it kind of Loki was for me a little bit of a miss. But just purely WandaVision and What If, those were big swings. Like I have to commend them. For the longest time, I never thought of Marvel as great storytellers. I thought they were fantastic entertainers, but this is good.
I'm glad you brought up WandaVision, because even I'm like, Marvel, DC. I'll watch something if it's good, right? I'm a huge Thor Ragnarok fan.
Love
but,
Ragnarok, yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
okay, I love that one Avengers, which was amazing and whatever. But otherwise, I'm like, okay, this is so much.
It's
Like,
entertaining.
even
sure.
I was like, wow, new Spider-Man, and I'm seeing everybody spoilers, don't give
Yeah.
spoilers, and Green Hornet. and
Again,
this
like
we just did
Spider-Man
an
is-
episode. We just did an episode last week on this show.
What was the
talking for
consensus on Spider-Man?
We hadn't seen Spider-Man yet. We saw
Okay.
Spider-Man after that.
In fact, I saw the
yeah.
previous Spider-Man when it had come out, the Jake Gyllenhaal one, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Kya tatti movie hai ye?" Ekdam like,
Again, I
it's
think
not
they
like
are
that.
very entertaining films.
Yeah,
Same with No Way
No Way
Home.
Home.
I think it's a very, very entertaining film. The scope is massive, but I still don't think it's fantastic storytelling.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
I agree.
But
Very,
WandaVision was amazing.
Was-
Again,
Yeah,
like
it was amazing.
subtle, again, just like subtle discourse about feminism and everything, and then juxtaposing
pop
it
culture.
with, juxtaposing
Different
it with,
eras
like,
of pop
I
culture.
Love Lucy, and
Lucy.
like it's just amazing.
Speaking
If
of I Love Lucy,
Huh.
you guys have to watch. If anyone liked Lucille Ball, you guys have to watch Being the Ricardos. Why?
I love
Because so there's been a lot of backlash for Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem because they don't look like Lucy and Desi, but the essence, the way they capture the performances, it's amazing. Like I feel it's, and Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem both have enough and more performances on their roster, but this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I fucking love her since I was a kid. In fact, I rewatched all of I Love Lucy very recently, and it's still like, this is what, 1940s, 1950s. It's not even
To
like
be a
70s,
woman.
80s.
To be a woman at the helm of affairs
Yeah.
in that time, amazing.
Just even the way she talks to her husband is like, wow, you
Yeah.
could do that in the 30s.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
40s,
yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
hit you. Like, oh.
Oh, I've never even heard of the show. I don't know what plan I'm living the Ricardos.
It's a film, Being the
It's a film.
Ricardos.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
There was
What do
a
you guys-
show called I
Yeah.
Love Lucy in the 30s
I know
and
the show, yeah.
40s. Yeah.
Correct.
So
I know the
that's,
show.
It's by Aaron Sorkin, written and directed by Aaron
Oh,
Sorkin.
wow. Okay, cool. Nice.
I didn't know that.
Then after the Capitol Hill riots, Biden finally got elected. I mean, he finally took office.
Yeah.
And I feel like compared to Trump, it is kind of nice to
It's
not always
boring.
be aware.
It's boring.
which is
And I'm
nice.
so happy about
yeah,
that.
dude, which is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Like you're not waking up to see what incendiary tweet you're
Yeah.
going to be looking
Kofefe,
at, you know?
Unless it was Kofefe.
Kofefe.
Didn't mean anything. So, which is kind of, it's been like a comparatively normalish year.
Uneventful. Yeah.
Uneventful year, I would say.
But
Which is
that's
kinda
how shouldn't that be
a good
How-
presidency.
yeah, like heads of state, that's how they should be running their lives, not
Yeah, correct.
I
on
do
Twitter.
feel like, again, like I spoke about how Netflix marketing is being confused with what is good content. I do feel like even presidencies tend to do that because
Yeah.
we all like, wow, Kamala, and wow, this.
Then
But lately now, when you
a
read
lot of
about
people,
how they are backtracking on
Yeah.
everything and like
Correct.
whether it's the student loans and everything, I just somewhere feel like we are very quick to not idolize, but at
like
least
make
quick
a
to,
like
this is amazing. This is
we-
amazing.
the
Today,
the
even when we are talking-
superlatives.
Sure,
We
sure.
dole out superlatives very
Sure.
easily. That's my
Even
issue.
right now, when we are talking about AOC, right? I'm starting to. I love her. I follow her on Instagram. I saw a little Christmas post yesterday. I was like, so cute. Like, love her. But sometimes, it's like, how do I say this? And I don't know if this is the right way to put this. You know how after the Me Too movement, somewhere psychologically we know never trust a man entirely, right? Like, never ever. Like, no matter how amazing, you always have to have that guard up. I've said this even in India, when you think about all your like the in the front line, not front line, but like what's his name?
Who?
Oh man, he has such scathing things to say about BJP. Kanhaiya.
Kanhaiya Kumar. Yeah.
Kanhaiya Kumar. Like sometimes I feel like these are so hopeful. Aam Aadmi Party, one of the best social media handles to follow, by the way. Like, I love their reels. First of all, you see BJP trying to drag us back a few centuries, and then you see an opposing party which is like doing reels and stuff. There, you have my vote, But I can't help but constantly take everything with a giant sack of salt, not even a pinch. Like, where, okay, when you actually are doing it, let's see. So, sorry, coming back to like Biden and all of that.
So I thought about politicians, I always say that do not trust any politician. Like, that should be your baseline. That I don't trust you. Now you have to earn my trust. That is your job.
Ravish Kumar, who's not a politician, but I love Ravish Kumar.
I love Ravish
Oh my
Kumar.
God,
Dude.
yeah.
It's like he has earned your trust, right? You can
He has,
see
yeah.
from his
Yeah.
reporting and the way he talks
Yeah.
that he's the one of the good ones. Yeah.
Mm,
So
mm.
the Biden thing, a few days after that, sadly, after the Biden thing, this 26th Janko, there was this Delhi Mein, the farmer riots happened. But quickly, what till date we don't really know if was it like elements that were put in by the opposition of the farmer protests to kind of like frame them in a way, or it was actually just a small faction from the farmer protests that actually went and made that whole Red Fort page, the whole thing happened. We still don't know what exactly what the thing was. But since then, good news for the farmers that towards just a couple of weeks back or 3 weeks back, the farm laws have been since repealed.
So when that thing happened, one of my first reactions was, God damn, why would you do that? Because and I'll tell you where I felt it's not an equivalent thing, but just the parallels of a minority and a minority moving forward slowly, one step at a time, and due to one violent action or one stupid action, it all dismantles and very wrongfully gets dismantled. My first instinct was, if this is something that you guys have done, then why did you do it? Because this is something that will immediately change your branding, will immediately brand you as
puts you
not what you are.
Yes.
And maybe that's exactly proof enough for us to know maybe they weren't the ones who did it.
It's just
who knows?
Probably.
Can't say that.
You can't. But so the reason I said I immediately went back to a parallel was when Jussie Smollett was
Juicy Smollett.
So when the news came out, anyone who has been gay bashed felt it. No, 1 second. Don't laugh at it. Don't laugh at it. Because there was a lot of support for him. Because people have been gay bashed and they said, I get this guy. And then when the real news came out, everyone felt cheated. Everyone felt like, we put our heart, soul, and mind behind you.
Yeah, like Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Yeah. And that's what he's part of. An intersection of two minority communities, and both communities just felt like they were let down because there was so much. That one incident was used as proof for, so your fight is not authentic. So you always have cheats within you. So you always will make up stories. And that becomes the narrative from the opposition. And that pisses me off because as a minority, you will always face that. You can't afford to make a single mistake. That's wrong, but that's how you play the game. You can't, even if you make the mistake, you have to figure out how you market yourself. It's the worst thing out of the sun, but that's how the game is played. And that's what pisses me off about this system. That
I
one
feel
small
a
thing.
lot of times we live also in a time where it's easy to confuse between the individual and the collective.
Absolutely.
A lot of times.
Absolutely.
And today, whether what you were saying about the farmers' protest, like a few individuals doing something suddenly mars the entire. I feel it is incumbent upon us as individuals to be responsible enough to be able to differentiate. The only reason I kind of laugh about the Juicy Smollett thing is because I recently saw an HBO documentary called Fake Famous. Have you all seen it?
No.
Where they run a social experiment about how easily can you get 3 people who are not popular at all on social media and how can you make them famous, like just using bots and just showing or an appearance of a lifestyle, and how people are easily nowadays fooled by what they see in your 1:1 grid in Instagram. It was actually, and it had nothing to do with Juicy Smollett, this documentary. But for some odd reason, I kept thinking about his story and I kept empathizing with, it's literally, you take your entire political parties, you take individuals, you take all of these things. Trust me, we are living in an age where everybody's just trying to trick the algorithm constantly. Yeah. And out of that stems your lies and your deceit and your Kofefe and your this and your that and Aam Aadmi Party. Everybody is just in this race to be relevant in a scrolling feed. And sometimes I feel like it just becomes easier to live life when it feels less crazy to live on this planet the day everybody starts seeing their phone screens like that, or their screens from that point of view, because it's ridiculous. And it's just sad also, but sometimes I'm like, these are the times, dude. We at least we have COVID, but in the earlier centuries, it's like, one mouse bit someone and boom, 9 million people died. We are better off now, but we are just mentally so like brittle because of being bombarded constantly. It's fucking sad. It's fucking sad.
Do you like true crime stories?
Do you like to learn about the people behind some horrible, awful crimes?
More specifically, women that may have committed these crimes.
Actually, Indian criminals that are women?
Then we'd like to welcome you to our podcast, Misconduct. My name is Raghavi.
And I am Nisha.
We cover themes like murder, dacoity, drug trafficking, financial fraud, kidnapping, and many more.
You can catch us every Wednesday on the IVM Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcast.
Also, another thing that both Farhad and I have spoken about it on our podcast is a lot of people, had a lot of issues with a lot of Indians having a point of view on American elections.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to put it out there that America's elections matter for the world.
Yeah, correct. I agree. That's
So-
what my thing also. The way
People care. People don't give a about Britain's elections because they don't matter that much in the larger scheme of things. Like Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand getting elected is great, but that doesn't matter to me. But what kind of a leader gets selected in America matters. It will send ripples across, let's say, gay rights movements across the world. It does matter, which is why people have a vested interest in American politics, because that country does affect a lot of other countries. So when people sit up and attack, people for having a point of view on an election that's not necessarily your country's election, again, that's another thing. People just need to calm the down and shut the up and just keep it to themselves. Let people have you are not paying for their internet now. So then shut your trap.
But also, do you guys also feel the same about when the Indian team took the knee for the Black Lives Matter movement?
One second.
Then this entire pop
here's
culture
my
thing
thing.
started that
Here's
not
my
Indian
thing.
celebrities are signing up for the problems in India.
So that I feel is a much larger discussion, and I do sense where the outrage for the Indian cricket team is coming from, because you can't tell me in India where you've not. So the equivalent of the Black Lives Matter in India is the Dalit Lives Matter.
Untouchability and all of that.
I don't think anyone in the largest scheme of things in the Indian cricket team has ever had a point of view on how caste is bad. So when you do that, you're doing that only as a performative act, and you really don't.
Especially while you've got like 5 brands on the clothes.
Also, they were told by the corporate side, right? They were told by the higher ups to do this. It wasn't an individual decision to do it. They were just like, हाँ ठीक है, बोला तो हम कर लिए. That was the.
But it's a statement. You can't just casually do that.
Exactly.
But I also do think that the people who did that are also thick enough to do that just because mere sponsors ne bola.
It's a thing.
I do think that they're stupid enough to do that.
Just relevance.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. I remember so many funny posts came out during the Afghanistan, when America was leaving Afghanistan. You remember that famous, now rest in peace, Siddharth Shukla, but do you remember his post where he put up like some portfolio shot of incredibly sad and
oh my God,
Afghanistan. And I'm like, first of all, a lot of these celebrities are entirely 90% of their lives are managed by other people, by social media managers and PR people and all. They are literally just doing things again
that someone else is telling
in an algorithm.
Yes.
What works is today also, when the moment I work with a brand where I need to know what celebrities' birthdays is, and I was like, oh, today's Salman Khan's birthday. So I just went to Twitter and I thought, oh, Salman Khan is trending. And then the reason I find out is because he was bitten by a non-venomous snake, which was, by the way, some 3 centimeters long, the snake. And not that takes away from the venomous factor of the snake. But I was just like, this is going to trend the entire day that Salman Khan's pinky toe got bitten by a fucking tiny snake, dude. Bizarre. It's just, this is the kind of shit you can't even cover in therapy, like why am I paying? If my therapy ended with, so I am angry that Salman Khan got bitten by a snake, my therapist would be like, okay, off. I don't need your money anymore. Go away.
I have a question to ask all of you, because this year there have been a lot of these very surprising diversity in terms of nationalistic films. So you obviously have your Akshay Kumar nationalism, which is bell bottom and stuff like that. But then you had some fantastic films, and I know I'm coming in with a bias because there's Jai Bhim, and then there is Sardar Udham, where the storytelling is very not
so intense. Oh my
where
God.
The storytelling is not very pro status quo, and I found that very refreshing, and I found the fact that that's that.
Wait, is Bell Bottom good? Like,
no, I'm not talking about Bell Bottom. I'm talking about Sardar Udham and
Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim is a masterpiece.
I've not seen it.
I've heard both are great. Yeah, Jai Bhim is
great films. Yeah, I watched Jai Bhim. I haven't watched this thing yet, Sardar Udham, but I hear very good things about Sardar Udham. So for me, I think it's a fantastic thing that we are seeing not just this one brand of Kangana Ranaut and Akshay Kumar brand of nationalism, where everything is just that one uninteresting same, Muslims ne ye kiya and I will come and save everyone. I feel like we are not talking about it enough. The fact that we have this, we still have that in our system. We are still not as propagandized.
It goes back to how you have your protests, you have your movements, but how important is art also to fight the system, right? And sometimes you see it becoming, the voices are starting to show up in the form of films, in podcasts, in music. You're really starting to see it everywhere, and these are just efforts, even if they're efforts. And tomorrow, let's say, sometimes on one day I'm like, are we heading to be like a North Korea, right? Which sounds like an exaggeration, but then you read about Munawar
Faruqi, and already apparently so there is some body which rates democracies, like how much of a democracy are you, how much or not. And India is now like what is the term? Something autocracy, something autocracy. We're not really a democracy anymore.
Which is what I'm trying to say is these films will only get richer with time. I've not seen Jai Bhim. I literally just Googled it and it sounds fantastic. While talking to you all, I was like, oh my God, I need to watch this today. But what I'm trying to get at is, even the kind of art that's come out on Instagram, like you take your sanitary panels and you take all these pages and you see even like college students to like actual exhibitions to like actual sculptures and everything. Like it's, also you try to stifle the voice, it shows up in the form of art, I feel.
So I teach, students between 18, 21-year-old. The amazing thing is how much more forward that generation is compared to us. We've always known. So the way we are different from, our past generation is we knew what we wanted. We found our way to do it without being loud about it. But this generation, they're very clear about how they want to be loud about it, because if I'm not making some noise while doing it, I'm not creating enough effect for it to reach other people. And to be in a classroom where literally everyone started introducing themselves with their pronouns is so refreshing. And it's not just I'm saying it because it's PC. The kind of conversations everyone's having, the kind of fervor this
and finding platforms to do that. This week I saw, probably so late in the year, but I saw this show called Sort Of. And just I couldn't help but scrutinize. Wow, a show about a non-binary, like millennium, not Gen Z, but millennium,
young millennial,
and a Pakistani who's non-binary and trying to figure out life in Canada or Britain. I'm not sure, but like one of these. And it's just like, wow, I'm so glad that these kind of voices are so easy to come across now. Because if we are still doing a recommendation section, all my recommendations are like women writers, women directors, and it's just such fresh voices and takes. Like I feel like, and in that sense, I really feel I May Destroy You was seminal in like for me to a new wave of like the digital age has become content has begun, you know, when because already ever since Harvey Weinstein happened, like you saw so many swipes being taken through movies, through TV shows to tackle the idea. Even I watched Last Duel this week, which was in a way
it is about
story, right?
assault. Yeah.
Correct.
In even though it's set in medieval times, you're like, okay, wow, what an interesting take. But I saw I May Destroy You, where they just ripped the scabs off, leave alone first band-aid, then the scabs, and showed you the wound. And it made me question who I am as a man. Like, really, like I might be a very problematic human being. When I saw I May Destroy You, I was like, holy shit, I am not a nice person at all, because this is the truth. And the truth is being shown in such beautiful ways now, whether it's movies, music, books, even music is like huge. Look at Lil Nas, right? When in what era could you have seen a out proud black man show himself being impregnated by another man
and a rapper to boot?
A rapper. Could have never. But if somewhere a black kid somewhere sees this and sees himself in a representation of that sort, it's amazing that we live in that time. Otherwise, you had to. They've always existed. People have always existed to hold the light for you and show you the way and all of that. Today, I think about Alok Ved Menon so many times. I'm so thankful. Alok Ved Menon, right? Yeah. Sometimes I just see their Instagram and I'm just like, this is a book. Like, this person should not be wasting their words on captions. You know what I mean?
So, you know, my it's not a theory. It's just like, you know, an observation is that the more right wing or the more conservative a society gets, the richer the opposing voices will get.
Amazing.
The past decade, pre-Trump, pre-Modi, was good, was easier. It was, we saw Congress was in power, you know, we were seeing good things happening around the world. And then at that point of time, the need for such rich, strong, sort of, you know, rebellious voices was never felt. Now, all the more it's required, which is why the trans identity, that voice is so loud and it's so important, because that's the other end of the spectrum, which basically standing up and saying that I am the extreme end of the spectrum that makes you uncomfortable, and I am going to push hard till you are okay with my presence, and I'm going to keep pushing till you are okay with my presence, and that's essentially what is required.
You take any topic now, whether it's like trans lives or black lives or even like always used to feel guilty that I have no idea what the Syria Israel conflict is about, but I literally just this year I've seen so many Israeli shows, even though they are about like some undercover spy unit or something or the other, and they might be propaganda. I might not be getting my education the right way, because it's really a problem. No matter how much I've tried to Google my way through it, it's something that doesn't make sense to me. Where you think of the Zionist revolution and the this and the Palestinians and who is more affected and who is right, who is wrong. But sometimes you just get a worldview through art in so many, and through content so many ways. And I guess that's the beauty of everything we are discussing today. That today, if there is something that you feel like you don't know about, there will be a movie, there will be a TV show, there will be a book, there will be a article, a long read article somewhere on the internet, which will sit down and hold your hand and explain to you about how you need to process all these crazy things going on in the world all the time, every hour, because of social media. It's ridiculous. So if Salman Khan got bitten by a snake, I don't wish it was venomous, but I wish it was like
slightly an actual snake.
Slightly
venomous.
No?
Like, let it be worth the news.
Oh my God. Imagine that you remember that terrible movie Jani Dushman?
Yes. The best movie. What are you talking about?
No, as in terrible.
Amazing.
Amazing. Somewhere the snake bites Salman Khan, but then it turns into a deer. Like I need some masala like that, dude. Oh my God.
So we have already crossed another hour, by the way. We are now.
Bye, guys.
Okay, we should definitely wrap this up.
Amazing.
So let's just finish this part here.
Yes.
Because this is endless, man. We can talk about
this. Is endless.
Yeah.
Also, between Farhad and me, we watch a lot, because we don't have lives. We watch and consume a lot of
In fact, the only thing I've constantly been feeling is that oh my God, I do not talk about all the favorites.
Same.
And even if you give me like the next 1 hour to talk about,
it'll
all
not be
these
enough.
things,
This is
it
not
won't be enough. I saw
Exactly.
so many amazing things. Leave alone this year, the last month, I've seen such amazing things. Yeah, okay, but let's go. Where
But
are we
we
going?
Let's keep that
we
for the
could have
recommendations.
we could have gone for the Joe Rogan 3 hour. But let's
Should we do everybody recommend one thing and
Yes,
then
yes.
buy?
Yes,
So
yeah.
we're gonna take a
Yeah.
break right now, and we'll be right
Yeah.
back after the break, and that's when we'll start with the recommendations.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. This week on Shunya One, Shiladitya and I talked to Sumit Shah. He's the founder and CEO of Dukaan, an e-commerce platform where merchants can set up their shops using their smartphones. This is being used by a lot of kirana shop owners throughout the country and is a really interesting conversation for you to listen to. On Say No to Drama, Chetna is here to talk about the importance of living in the present. This week on Khel Neeti, Madan Lal recalls the 1983 World Cup and reviews the film 83 with our host Rajiv Mishra. On Football Shitball, Siva Sapre and Karthik talk about the latest Premier League matches, Ramos getting his first red card for PSG and Barcelona's draw with Seville. And on Pulyabazi, Pranay and Saurabh try to figure out why India has not been able to become the world's electronics supplier. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, do tell a friend. The word of mouth absolutely is essential to us. Don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms that you've been listening to. And also, I'd like to ask everybody to check us out on YouTube. We have a number of channels going. You can find all of them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Cred, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch, Kuber, and Intel. Thank you so much for making this possible.
And the break is done. We are back with
okay.
recommendations.
Okay.
Let's start it out.
Amazing.
Farad, tell us your recommendation, man.
Oh,
We've already gotten a few from you.
Sure.
Starting with this mic, firstly. But yeah,
okay.
was-
Amazing.
that was one
When we
episode
put
back.
them on, we
that was
can't
last
forget
episode.
that.
That wasn't this episode. Because this
Amazing.
episode was
Mono.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why. If you ask me, I saw amazing, fantastic things this year. But for some odd reason, something that just was a top. And I don't expect other people to like it as much. I'm sugarcoating too much. But I saw this show called Back to Life
Okay.
this year. And for some odd reason, it repeatedly has seen 1,000 things before and after Back to Life, which I loved. 1,000 things I loved this year. But for some odd reason, sometimes when someone asks you what's your favorite song, it's so difficult to say, right? Because I'm 37. How the fuck do I tell you one song that's been this? So if you ask me one show, for some odd reason, my brain projects Back to Life repeatedly. It was just, there was something, it's only 2 seasons long, 6 episodes each season. So a total of 12 episodes, 20 minutes each episode, tiny. It's about a woman who's spent 18 years of her life in jail. And now she's out and she's just trying to acclimatize back in a small town where she committed this crime, and how everybody hates her, but she's paid her dues. It is one of the most honest new shows. It's written, I keep forgetting her name, the lead of the show. Are you looking at the page, Antriksh?
No, not that page. I was just looking at.
Okay. Sorry. No, because I just wanted to know the name of the lead. She's written it. She's directed it. She stars in it. I felt like it was, for some odd reason, even though there's no direct comparison, I thought if you blended I May Destroy You and Fleabag and all your amazing women-centric shows.
30 Rock.
No.
No, not 30 Rock. Okay, I don't know. I'm just throwing out women-centric. Parks and Recreation is throwing out women-centric shows.
Okay. Come out of NBC, CNBC.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking thoda BBC, HBO mein aao.
Okay.
By the way, this is
it
a show.
Laura Solin or Daisy Haggard?
Daisy Haggard. Yeah. It's actually a cross this between BBC and HBO. So you can imagine how amazing the show is. It's BBC and HBO.
Okay.
It's, I think, honestly, my one go-to, one easily recommend show this year is Back to Life. I was blown away.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way.
Which nowadays a lot of things are 100%.
That is
right
true,
now, you
yeah.
told me about Jeb.
By the way, if you really want, if you want to go by critical consensus, then you should look at Metacritic, not Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes mein
Okay.
koi bhi, anyone.
Yeah, that's true. Fair.
So
Unless you go only by what's your critic score, then okay, maybe.
yeah.
But just a blind. I totally expect people to go "Oh, this guy really sold that show. It's not that great, but it really sunk into my skin in some weird way. And ever since then, even though the show it's I don't know if there's a season 3, watched it. This character, the lead woman of that show, she's just stayed with me ever since. Like my heart still goes out to her.
Oh, okay.
So Back to Life. That's my recommendation.
Okay. What about
That's
you,
nice.
Sunendra?
So I've recommended this on GabyCD. For me, this is the best film of the year, which is my opinion in terms of the best film of the year. It's this film called Flea. It's an animated documentary, and it's about. So it's basically this guy who's about to get married, and he's telling his story of how he fled as a gay man. He fled Afghanistan.
Wow.
Because he
Okay.
knew he would get murdered over there.
This came after the Taliban takeover. Another thing we didn't talk about, by the way, but dude.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Suez Canal. I think we missed that.
Yeah, but that's fine. Let's
Fuck
not.
Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal blockage thing that happened, you know.
We as gay men go through blockages all the time. Get
The
back in
number of
line,
gay,
Suez.
the number of gay memes on Suez Canal that you
Yeah.
wouldn't have
Get
been
in line,
exposed
Suez
to. Yeah.
Canal.
Yeah, we
Okay.
probably-
So-
Douche, probably.
Yeah. So I would say, Flea for sure. Please go watch Flea
No,
because
so sorry. My question is: before this was the movie came out.
It
Before
doesn't
the Taliban
matter.
takeover? Oh,
it doesn't matter because it doesn't I don't know when it was released, but I watched it 3 months back.
Okay.
It's anyway not meant to be about Afghanistan. It's a very personal story. It's not supposed to
Got it.
be an attack on Afghanistan or anything. Everyone knows how queer people are treated in Afghanistan. Persecuted
Yeah.
there. So it's a beautifully heartfelt story, and I don't know whether you guys have watched this film called Waltz with Bashir. It was another documentary about war that was made in an animated format. For me, it came close to that delicacy of expression. It might just be one of those really crazy triple swings where it gets 3 nominations this year, one for best documentary, for animated film, and foreign film. It might
wow.
just be possible, but because it's made the shortlist for all 3, the Oscar shortlist for all 3. So Flea, amazing, stunning. Yeah.
Cool.
What about
In fact, I actually, after you recommended it, I got it because I had not even heard of it. And that's the thing, right? We live in an age where so many amazing things happen. And now, first, I feel like 2 years ago, you wouldn't miss anything. But now, the sheer volume of good
Dude, it's impossible.
content out there,
it's
you do
difficult
miss.
to keep up.
But the funny thing is, I got, by God, you know what I mean. I got it, and it did not have subtitles along with it. But it was in English. So I was like, no, I'll still this. But even I just started it and I was like, I thought, no, let me put it off. I'll get the subtitles and watch it again. But I just started it, and next thing you know, I was at the end of the film.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you, Shunetra. Love you, man.
What about you? What about
Please go ahead.
So for
Yes,
me, my recommendation is this Christmas movie.
Never get gay guys on your show. That's Zalak's recommendation. We'll never let you
No.
talk.
I love this conversation.
Kidding,
We'll
kidding.
probably just have you
Exactly.
back and let you guys do
Yeah,
the show.
absolutely.
Yeah, by the way, this is a very IVM likes comes on
KBCD.
KBCD
Yeah,
kind of an
absolutely. I get it.
episode.
I get it.
Sorry,
So
Zalak.
my recommendation is this Christmas movie that I saw last weekend. It's on Netflix. It's called The Happiest Season. And it's a very simple story about this. You know about it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Very
last year.
simple story.
Last year, yeah.
Times.
Yeah, simple relationship, like
Yeah.
simple problems, and how simply they've solved it. And at the end of the movie, how the family accepts the fact that their daughter is gay. So
Yeah.
cute and
It's
just
so funny.
simple.
I really feel Happiest Season is more popular this year than it was last year.
It is.
Because
I
Exactly.
saw about it
I
this
saw a
year.
lot of Instagram stories where everyone is like, oh my God, Happiest Season. Not that I'm trying to be, oh, it came out last year, get with the times. But like, I was like, wow, that movie suddenly has become a bit of a cult hit this year.
Yeah,
Such a cute movie.
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Talking about happy things, not my recommendation though, but talking about happy things, Ted Lasso was a very happy
Yes.
and nice show.
It was.
Yeah.
it
I
was
really liked
adorable.
this year.
Yeah. I
Uh,
wouldn't have liked anything with football in it, but I did.
Same.
like that.
Yeah, but I did
no,
like it.
I
Yeah.
don't like sports at all, but I was very
Yeah.
surprised that I really like Ted Lasso because I like, again, I'm a huge fan of Jason Sudeikis. I think I've seen almost every movie that he's
I
in.
don't know.
I like
I
him.
love-
I like
love
him. I
Sudeikis.
really
I
like
loved him so
Yeah,
much.
I loved him in this.
He's been great.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
Sudeikis.
know. Okay.
But
What's your recommendation?
my recommendation for this week, I've already talked about, is 83 because I literally saw it yesterday night, and I had a very good time. I laughed. There were moments in the film where I was laughing out loud, like ha ha! Oh my god, that is so funny. So
Is
I
it
really
only
liked it.
theater release or like
As of now, yeah.
Right now-
platform?
Right
But
now.
interestingly, it says when the movie starts, right, it says streaming partner Hotstar, And then the very next screen is streaming partner Netflix. So I don't know what it is coming on, which is a
no. A lot of things are on both.
Coming on both nowadays. No,
even Office, if you see, it's on Netflix and
really?
Netflix and Prime. It's on both. So they figured out a way, obviously, because otherwise they would have killed themselves in front of them. Netflix would have killed if they all started fighting for shit. Sorry, I just quickly, did you all see this new Netflix film?
What, like Power of the Dog?
No, it's a new Malayalam film.
Minal Murali? Munal Murali, it is so good. It is so good. It's a superhero movie.
Yeah, okay, I know this. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly.
It's one of those. Today, there was some loud fucking procession under my house. So I was up at 7, and suddenly I couldn't sleep. So I was like, let me just. I've not seen a movie early morning in ages. So let me. And I put this movie, and then the lights went, so I had to put it off halfway. But I was thoroughly enjoying it, and it's Netflix produced. So I was like, wow, Netflix is really going in
good.
They have real misses also. It's not like because this is the same week.
They're trying, man. You can tell they're trying.
Like Decoupled, which I saw.
I heard.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Anything which has Chetan Bhagat in it as an actor is.
Wait, Chetan Bhagat is in Decoupled. Oh,
apparently he makes a cameo. Even I've not watched it.
Which book is it based on?
No, it's not his book. He apparently just makes a cameo in it. And I only got this review from. Do you all follow Adhavarya on Instagram? So I saw her review of it, and I was shocked that this is a TV show produced by Netflix and it's on Netflix. Sorry, that's a sudden.
That's a non-recommendation. That's a
do not watch.
I recommend not to watch it. Yes.
Everything else, watch it, but don't watch Decoupled. Don't give money.
Yeah. That's actually like good. Maybe a second we should start. What would you recommend people not to watch? Could be another.
Belfast. Oh my god.
Okay, you have that. You have those. Yeah.
Let's make
you watched it, right? Did you watch it?
Belfast. No, I haven't.
It is so dreary. I mean, there is a point where you have to call people out for glorifying dreary Oscar bait films. Belfast is one of them. It is just like depression ka matlab bhandar lagao or Oscar jeeto. It is I don't know why. I don't know why people are going gaga over it. Like, I just don't get it.
But just because Jamie Dornan, like in Belle and Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
He's the best thing about it. And I worship the ground on Kristen Wiig's feet. So you can imagine.
Yeah, it was such a bizarre.
Have you guys watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar? It is the most absurd, storyless comedy, which is so fun.
It's like a 2-hour SNL skit that
The next thing I'm thinking of watching is the new MacGruber TV show.
Oh god,
the movie is hilarious. And
I'm like, sometimes I watch people, like, we already spoke about Hellbound, but there are so many things people actively spend time watching, and I'm like, I'm not judging them, but I'm kind of judging them. For example, Emily in Paris. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it.
So here's the thing. I get why people would watch it. I get it. Why it's like, mindless, brainless. It's really shit. But people also want to have, because of the pandemic, I guess people really need
breather shows.
Low involvement, convenient shows, which I get. I get it.
See, because they want to fantasize that, for themselves.
Even in that, I'm saying there are good shows, right? Like,
of course. But that's where marketing comes.
I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. Sometimes, a lot of times when people ask me, what are your favorite films of all time? Somehow Paddington always pops up in my head, right? Now, is Paddington like the most critically acclaimed film ever? No?
I mean, it is critically acclaimed, but it's not your like best of all times considered.
Right? Even right now, I'm watching Ghost, BBC's Ghost, which it's actually like the intersection between a kid's show and a young adult horror comedy, and I thoroughly love it. Like, I genuinely love it so much. And I'm like, if you want to do the easy viewing also, there are many options. Like, recently I was watching Gilmore Girls all over again, and I was like, look at this. This is like so relaxing and stupid, but still quality to watch, But sometimes I watch like these shows, I don't know. I'm so quick to be annoying. I'm so sorry. I'll just shut up. Fuck Emily in Paris. Please don't watch it.
Okay, please don't watch it. Okay.
Let's do an episode on this next time.
Yeah, don't watch this.
Things don't watch. Or no, it should be like a call out episode. If you watch this and you think it's an amazing show, we need to like talk. You know,
Okay,
like,
yeah.
we need to have a
We have
conversation.
intervention. We need.
Like Riverdale,
Yeah.
if you think Riverdale is amazing, if you thought 13 Reasons Why is the best show, I went on a date while I was in Delhi. I went on a date and this guy, he was beautiful. He was saying all the nice things. And somewhere he said that his favorite show is 13 Reasons Why. And the rest of the date, I couldn't get it out of my head that he said that. Although he said amazing things. He said words like pork ribs. Okay. So I'm like, okay, wow. This guy's a veteran. But he also said his favorite show is 13 Reasons Why. I was like, no.
I get it. That's fair.
Oh my
man.
god. Oh
All
my
right.
god. Oh my god.
I
oh
think
my
that
god.
it's about time we should call it.
Yes.
But thank you so much, guys. This is
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. This will be a
this is
two-part
very
episode.
long, this episode. We'll send you a GPay
Two-part, for sure,
codes,
for sure.
QR codes. We will
Yes.
send you a GPay QR codes. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Farhad. Thank you so much, Sunetro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear
Always a
listeners,
pleasure.
for coming on the show.
Please
Thanks,
check out the
guys.
Gaby City podcast and follow them on Instagram or social media, wherever they want.
Their links are in the description.
Links in the description.
Or on Discord, you know. Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you so
Thanks
much.
for having us. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
पेश खिदमत है आपकी शान में हमारे अंजुमन से हाय आई एम सदफ
एंड आई एम अर्शिद खाने का इतिहास इकोनॉमिक्स पॉलिसी साइकोलॉजी सब है मेन्यू पर
ओनली ऑन द नानकारी पॉडकास्ट एवरी वेडनेसडे सिर्फ IVM पॉडकास्ट ऐप या वेबसाइट पर या फिर जहां से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो
A wise man once said, traveling, it makes you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller.
Well, listen to such travel stories and experiences exploring India on the Musafir Stories with us, Saif and Faiza.
Catch us on the IVM website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.